Hello, good morning. On day 67, we've passed 2/3 of our journey, so we still have 1/3 to go. It's quite a long journey, isn't it? If you look at timing like this in a linear way, it feels like there's a long stretch still to go. And at the same time, I'm so used to doing these daily sharings now that I'm wondering how it will be if it's ending. Because it feels so, I don't know, it's a kind of natural part of my daily schedule right now to contemplate about something that comes up and then share that. Anyway, but still, it is of course a long time we are in this together. Today, I want to talk about one of the core issues in the way we perceive life, and that's the fact that we see everything and approach everything from a space of duality and from a perspective of duality. So there's always two sides on two things, but two opposite sides actually. And one feels positive and one feels negative. So two opposite sides in itself is not so bad, but the fact that we feel the negative connotation to one of the sides makes it that it creates such an amount of suffering for humans. And so we always think in win and lose, or good and bad, or beautiful and ugly, or right and wrong. And you might think when I say this, like, well, I don't think in win and lose, or right and wrong, but it's so subtle. It really is so subtle, and we constantly do it. And it's really part of our whole society and thinking. It's ingrained actually in everything we do. We need to win a game, we need to win football, we need to be successful, and then in order to be successful, you have to win. And you could say that there's nothing wrong with a winning mentality because it has something positive. You want to create something, you want to achieve something. But if it comes from a winning energy, then someone else or something else has to lose. So the challenge is to actually change that subtle difference in energy, that achieving something is not coming from winning, but it's coming from gifting and from flow and from sharing. And that the personal self, who is part of this process of sharing and gifting, doesn't play a role in the sense of it can lose something. Because as soon as you're coming from a feeling of that you can lose something, you're coming from lack. So actually, when you are thinking in the fact that you want to win something, you're also coming from lack belief. Because apparently you have to win something over something else. That means that there's something lacking. There's not enough for everyone, or there's no abundance. And you fear that you don't have enough. You fear that you might miss out on something. You fear that you're not good enough. You fear that you are less than someone else. You fear that you are even less to yourself than you want to be. And there's nothing wrong in essence with the fact that there are two opposite sides. So actually it's polarity we're talking about here. And the duality comes in when we have this play within humans in this positive and negative idea. But there's nothing wrong with polarity itself. I mean, we have day and night. We need that in our nature as a natural process. But how would it be if we could see losing as something positive? How could you? It's even hard to imagine to see losing as something positive, because it has, since we are born, we have been told that that's negative, that that's failing, that that's a mistake, that that's not good enough. Where it's just a word, losing is just a word. It doesn't have any meaning yet until you give it meaning. We don't give the night a negative feeling towards the day. We both know we know it's both there in nature, and it's just a natural thing. But there's nothing negative to night or today, or to the day itself, to daylight and the darkness of night. So it all comes down to the meaning we have been giving to this opposite side effects, the fact that we think in this duality way. And for me, it really has helped to become very conscious of the theme of winning and losing. Because every time I felt like I could lose something, it made me feel small. And so it immediately took away the empowerment feeling, the empowerment frequency. And so it really helped for me to just consistently take away the negative energy of the fact that something might not be there yet, and that I don't feel it like losing, but it's more like, okay, something else needs to happen. Apparently this is not meant yet there yet. Like I'm now, it's a very small example, but moving forward with my new activities, and I was asked by someone to feel into collaboration, and at first few days it then went really flowing. We were both very excited about it, and I was really pleased with this new role, and I could share about different subjects, different to what I'm sharing here in these 99 days. And then all of a sudden the flow was out of that process. For no particular reason, it's not happening right now. And at first my first thinking was, okay, I apparently I wasn't good enough, or I've lost this opportunity. And then I could just, and it was very subtle how that came up. And then it also kind of felt me less good about my new program. And then this whole little narrative about not being good enough came up. And then I stopped myself, and I was just like feeling into it, like, okay, that short process when we were in flow, it gave me a beautiful new insights of a second program after I finished the first one for a different target group. And actually just this interaction about collaboration created a completely new idea for myself, which was already lingering there, but wasn't quite as clear yet. And so actually I didn't lose anything yet by not being able to collaborate with her right now. And it might still go through. But I think the fact that I felt this feeling of losing also just took the energy out of the flow. And she probably felt as well. I mean, she's an extremely high, sensitive, and completely awake person. She's the one I followed the 99 days with last year. So she was the one who shared. So this dynamic of winning and losing, kind of, if that comes in, it also changes the flow of the process. So I honestly believe that with my negative feeling of losing something, I I did influence the process. And at the same time, there was literally nothing to lose. I just look at it differently now with a different perspective, and I didn't lose anything, but my frequency went just down a little, and even made me doubt my current program. So 2 days ago, I let go of everything, or 3 days ago. And then I like I shared yesterday, my process slowed down and the energy was intense and low. And not the frequency so much, but it was just a heavy feeling all day. And after my session with you yesterday morning, when I had this spontaneous meditation, it all went extremely up again, and I got so much clarity, and I made a huge progress with my program. So this is really an invitation to think about, for you to think about how this theme of winning and losing comes up, or being right about something. Because if you be right about something, then obviously the other person is wrong, because you want to convince him of being right, and you don't want to lose the argument, or you want to make sure that you control the outcome. So being right often also is to control the process, that the outcome is according to your expectation. And of course, it all has to do with the fears and insecurity underneath this, the lack beliefs we have been talking so much about. But this is really a different approach about looking at your lack beliefs. Because if you stop the thinking even in this duality way, then this whole lack belief doesn't even come up anymore. So like I explained with my example of this collaboration, the moment I approach this from a duality perspective, there was lack coming up. And if I wouldn't have done that, and then if I just would stay open to the whole process, this lack belief wouldn't have had a chance. So this is really another way, because it's such a deep programming in our system. This is another way to keep up your frequency, by stop thinking in this duality way. Stop thinking in right and wrong. Stop judging others, because even judging others is thinking in polarities. That person looks bad, or looks ugly, or looks fat, or so that automatically means that another person who looks thinner is apparently better. At least it's perceived by you as better if you think like that. So actually, in all the themes we've discussed, the fact that you might feel rejected comes from the fact that you lost something, that your fear that you might lose something, or you might miss out on something. So it comes up in any way actually we've been discussing so far. And for a lot of people, it's even hard not to think in winning and losing, because we appreciate competition, for instance. We appreciate, we celebrate when somebody has won something. So this winning is so normal. So you could think like, well, how can we have a competition if we can't win or lose? And we can still have this competition. But the feeling about losing something, or losing the game in this case, is not the fact that you, or what actually should happen is that you don't feel bad about the fact that you lost the game. You just played a nice game, and you enjoyed your play, and well, perhaps you were not as sharp at certain moments. Why? the other team could score. But how would it be if you just would be equally happy because the game was nice? And then you might say, well, that's impossible because there's so much at stake at the competition. So how sensible is it actually to have these strong competitions? Because as soon as there's much at stake, there's much to lose. And that's where it all comes down to. We think in terms of there's much at stake. And that's also why it's so difficult for us to make changes in our life, because we can lose something. We can lose this false feeling of safety where we are now, and stepping into something new, which feels uncomfortable, feels like we're losing our feeling of safety. Feels like we might lose our dignity, or we might lose our or we might feel ashamed of ourselves if something goes wrong, or so we all prevent that. So really, just without making it too big for yourself, just try to recognize where you act from a perspective of winning and losing. And when win and lose is very strong within you, then you most likely also do a lot of rationalizing when you've lost something. Then you probably say like, well, that was okay, I didn't really want to win that, or that was okay, I didn't really want to go in that direction, or that's all fine, or you find reasons why it didn't go that well, or you find reasons why you were still doing your best, but the other party was not doing his best, or didn't play it fair, or whatever. There's a lot of rationality in that, like rationalizing everything that comes up, and push it away because you don't want to feel that feeling of having lost something. And of course, the other side is that you feel amazingly well when you've won something. Then you're on top of the world, and then you can move forward, and then you feel like, okay, I can do anything I like, up until the next moment that you lost again. So you feel like you're going really up and down through your life. And it creates a lot of tension in your system, because you're constantly like guarded, like I have to win something. I cannot lose this. So most of those people, and they're mostly entrepreneurs actually, who are in this frequency of very strong win and lose, black and white thinking, they're often entrepreneurs because they have this winning mentality. That's what makes them so strong, because they go for their goal and they want to win. And that's very strong in their system, because losing is not an option, or feels bad, or is not part of their vision. So you're constantly alerted. And that means that you're in a quite low frequency, because you miss out on many things that you don't even perceive. You can't even see the other perspective. You can't even see what other opportunities are there. And if you go to a higher frequency, where it's more like win-win, then it's still not neutral, because you're still thinking in winning and losing. But from that frequency, you're at least aware that it's better, and it feels better for everyone. It's coming more from the heart space, that if we all win, it feels better. It feels better than that I win alone and the other one loses. So I like everyone to win. So I'm really open to new solutions, to other ideas, to other perspectives. And that already creates a lot of opportunities and a lot of momentum to go fast and to grow fast. So for entrepreneurs and CEOs, going into a state of win-win would be so much more valuable if they could see the fact that they miss out on opportunities by staying stuck in this win-lose theme. So I spent a lot of time on, when I was focusing on businesses, on this theme of win-lose. And then ultimately, obviously, even in business, winning or losing should not matter really. We just want to gift forward, and you know that when you give forward, that the flow is well, the things are flowing, the process is flowing, the creation is flowing, so things will come back, and there is abundance anyway, so there's never lack. From that high frequency, there's no lack anymore. You can't even feel lack. You can only feel abundance. And it's really hard to imagine when you're in a low frequency. It's really hard to even imagine that it would exist. And then it's kind of like pushed away, like, oh, that's probably imaginary thinking, which will never be true on Earth. And it is indeed a challenge on Earth, because we really have this energy of well, in first we have polarity on Earth. We have this the physics of a positive and a negative pole. I mean, our whole Earth is created like that. That's why we have this gravity as well. But again, the meaning we gave to it shows up in duality, not in polarity. But because this energy is kind of there, positive, negative, it really pulls us back easily in duality. Or pulls us down, actually, in duality. And then we've put a lot of meaning to the words, which it's really difficult to get rid of the word. Seeing losing as positive is really difficult. Just try it out as a game. So it's easier to go to win-win, because then you have two positive words, than it is to go into win-lose and see both sides as positive, just from a language perspective and the feeling it gives when you say the words. So see how this shows up, and see if you can really become aware of this thinking, because honestly, it will really help you. It will really help you in just seeing your lack beliefs differently. Seeing the fact that you literally cannot lose anything. There's only something to gain. To gain in your growth, to gain in empowerment, to gain in feeling liberated, to gain in... Every time you share yourself with something, it comes back if you don't have any expectation. It only works like that. It honestly works like that here. And not in the same moment. So it's not linear, but it will come back. Somehow. It will improve your quality of your life. You will feel more happy. And you can look differently at your lack beliefs, which is actually you feel you have lost something. You were not good enough. Good and bad. Good already said that you were not good enough. So you were bad. Or wrong. So try it out and see if it helps. And share if you have any questions on this, because this is a challenging theme. Especially because of the language. And the interpretations. So, but nothing has meaning until you give it meaning. It's just a word, it's just letters. Okay, well, this is all for today. And I'll see you back tomorrow. Bye.